Hello and welcome to Kody and Korbin Have a Podcast, the show where two former
And they were
roommates talk about a new
roommates.
movie every week. This week on the show, we're talking about Lady Bird.
I hate California. I want to go to the East Coast.
I want to go where culture is, like
How
New
in the world
York,
did I raise such a
or at least
snob?
Connecticut or New Hampshire, where writers live in the
Get into
woods.
those schools anyway. Mom, you should just go to city college. You know, with your work ethic, just go to city college and then to jail and then back to city college, and then maybe you'd learn to pull yourself up and not expect everybody to do everything.
Lady Bird, is that your given name?
Yeah.
Why is it in quotes?
I gave it to myself. It's given to me by me.
Lady Bird always says that she lives on the wrong side of the tracks, but I always thought that was like a metaphor. But there are actual train tracks.
As always, I'm your host, Corbin Zvokel, and with me is my co-host, Cody Webb. Cody, how are we doing?
I'm doing good, man. Back to recording. Lady Bird, good pick from you. I did have an interesting fact. This is the third movie in a row that we're reviewing that takes place in California.
Wow.
We had Terminator that took place in LA. We had
Palm
Palm
Springs,
Springs. I don't know where that took. I'm assuming Palm Springs.
California. Yeah.
Now we got Lady Bird in Sacramento. So I thought that was funny. Looking back at that.
We're running the Cali Gambit.
Guess so, dude. I got pressure to take a movie from Cali next pick, but yeah, kind of weird.
Yeah. Just before we get started, I wanted to say, if you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, drop us a rating and a review. We really appreciate it. I don't really use Apple Podcasts, but I had hopped on there and noticed that at least 2 people had given us 5 stars. So really appreciate whoever did that.
Wow.
But if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, drop us a review. Maybe we'll read it if anybody writes us a nice review or a mean one. Doesn't really matter. And
Give us an honest review.
yeah, just be honest. Tell us what you think. So let's get into things. Oh, and other thing real quick, Cody finally got a Letterboxd account. If you like, if you're into movies and kind of like movie social media like us, give us a follow. I think mine's just like at Corbin Z. I don't know. What's your account? Do you know?
Mine's just Cody Webb straight up, I think.
Yeah, I mean, if you just search either of our names, you can give us a follow, see what we're listening to or watching.
Yeah, I think I'll be using that a lot, honestly. I sort of like just giving like many 2-second reviews of stuff. I think that's pretty fun. So yeah, if you're on Letterboxd, definitely check us out. Good time.
Yeah. So getting into it, why I picked this movie. Honestly, this is one of my favorite movies of the last decade and probably one of my favorite movies of all time. I'm a really huge fan of it. Just on rewatch makes me realize how much I enjoy this movie. I actually wrote a paper on this movie last December for one of my classes. I just think it's a really great movie. Obviously, female director, female writer, really cool coming of age movie. Also, we talked last week. We had Jackson on, talked about Palm Springs. I'm going on their podcast at the time of this release. It will be a few days prior on Friday, previous Friday, so you can check that out. And we're talking about A24 movies. And of course, this is an A24 movie, probably my favorite A24 movie. So I just figured I'd pick this movie. I was going to watch it anyways, and it fits in well.
Yeah, definitely. What are some other A24 movies? I guess I don't even know like the studios that well. Any big names off the top or not really?
So yeah, there's like over 100 A24 movies.
Well, I know there's a crap ton. When I think
yeah.
A24, I think like horror indie. Isn't that like the niche thing they do?
So A24 both produces and distributes movies. This is one that they just distributed and didn't actually weren't involved in the production of. But some others that I got for you: Ex Machina, Enemy, The Last Black Man in San Francisco, Spring Breakers, mid-90s, Eighth Grade, The Green Knight, obviously a ghost
I guess
story,
it's just
Hereditary.
Small studio more than horror. I don't know. For some reason, when I think A24, I just think horror, but obviously that's not right at all.
They definitely,
good
I
studio.
mean, they do have their horror movies: Hereditary, The Witch, A Ghost Story, but it's I would say it's often characterized by a lot of like kind of independent movies, original stories, either sci-fi, coming of age, or horror. I think are usually like the 3 main genres. Moonlight is an A24 movie as well, so
That's
there
a
you
good
go.
one.
Yeah, also a lot of great representation often found in A24 movies. So
Definitely. Absolutely. Good studio. But yeah, just rolling into my initial thoughts here. I do like this movie a lot. I don't know if I enjoyed it as much as you do. You're putting it in like your top five for the decade. That's pretty high up there. But yeah, right off the bat, I just think something that is very impressive, not entirely related to the movie. What's her name? Cersei? Is that how you pronounce it?
Saoirse, I believe is.
Saoirse. All right, I'll try to get that right. Saoirse Ronan. Her American accent just is unbelievable in this movie.
Yeah, if you
like
hear
just
her
listening
talk,
to normal interviews, she's got the most Irish potato accent of all time.
it is
The
very thick.
potato. She's got that going, and I'll tell you what. I mean, I just love the accent game. She's got it. She's also great in Little Women, which I did see, and it's a completely different accent in that as well. So yeah, this chick's got it down basically. But yeah, more into the movie. Obviously, like the cast and the acting in this is unbelievable, as well as the direction. I'm a big fan of. There's just nothing you can really poke holes in the movie in that sense of the direction or the acting, I think, because it's pretty much just at the top tier of level. The thing where I do have a problem with it a little bit is just sort of the overall plot, but I'll get into that later. It is also a short movie, and I don't think that's a bad thing. But I feel like nothing really happens in the movie, which is also not a bad thing. We talked about that Moonlight last season, and I just don't know if this movie has that level of dialogue or storytelling, necessary to get away with there being no plot. I think it's definitely up there. I don't know if it gets there exactly. I'm sure you'll disagree with me on that.
It's
But yeah,
funny.
also, yeah, go ahead. You're
It's funny
that.
that
I'm sorry.
it's funny that you mentioned that because I was on TikTok earlier today, and there was a girl that was like movies where nothing happens, and Lady Bird was like one of the suggestion, like one of the movies that she brought up, and it is true, kind of nothing happens.
Yeah.
So
I mean, a lot happens, but there's no main plot. We're just
Mhm.
following along, like the whatever what's the phrase, the movie phrase. I can't talk today. What's that called when the movies when they're young and they're coming up?
coming of age.
Yes, got that out. All right. Yeah, the coming of age. I don't even remember what I was talking about. But yeah, basically, my last initial thought. I like the themes in this movie a lot. Sort of, it's not like I feel like the normal coming of age themes where it's just like growing up. It's actually some deeper stuff. Talking about like being ashamed where you came from. Does money make you happy? Does being poor make you sad? Sort of just deep stuff like that. Loving your kids versus liking them. I thought that was one of my favorite scenes where she's like, "Why can't you just like me, mom?" She's like, "I'll always love you." Yeah, you love me, but you don't like me. I connected with that. I thought that was really good. Also, just driving around your hometown for the first time. That's so nostalgic, I think. There's just a lot of little themes that I just like really grasp onto in this movie, which I do really love. But yeah, just the whole general of it. I don't think I'm as big a fan as you, but still great movie, obviously. But yeah, those are my initial thoughts. Pretty scattered, but initial thoughts.
Just real quick, you had mentioned to me that this is the second time you had watched it and how you enjoyed it more on a rewatch. Why do you think that is?
That is true. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I think maybe the first time it's just, you're enthralled into her life more, and the second time you're like, okay, like I know what's gonna happen. There's no mystery or anything. Like
Do
she's
you
gonna go to
notice
college.
the other detail, like the surrounding subplots a little bit more? You can appreciate that
Yeah,
stuff.
I do enjoy the side characters just as much as I think the main few in this movie, which I think it did benefit the second time around. But yeah, I think for some reason I'm not entirely sure why. I just enjoyed it the first time more than I saw it. Kind of weird.
You were talking about that experience of, or just talking about, where you came from, being ashamed of that feeling of driving around your hometown for the first time. And they say in this movie, but they refer to Sacramento as the Midwest of California. And
Yeah, that's funny.
obviously,
that's
this being our third California movie, but I feel like we can connect with it a little bit more, being, two Indiana boys who kind of maybe can feel some of what she's feeling a little bit about, your hometown, nothing's ever happening, and you're never really experiencing anything powerful or moving, and that the feeling of maybe wanting to escape that. And I think that's something I definitely relate to a lot in this movie.
Definitely. Yeah, I think this is like more of a Midwestern movie, even though it is set in California, which is funny. Yeah, I think just growing up in a small town, we can relate to this movie a lot better than maybe some people who grew up in larger towns. But yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So in terms of my initial thoughts, I don't have a ton of gripes with this movie. I think there's a lot of great things about it. So I'll try and run. I have a lot to say here, so I'll try and run through it pretty
Go
quickly.
for it.
I think this movie is almost like dreamlike or ethereal in a sort of way. It's being told through memories. Obviously, it's shot digitally, but it's got this film appearance. It almost seems like it's an old camera. It's obviously set in 2002, 2003. It's like you're looking back at old photographs and you're remembering what happened. And there's kind of that feeling of like Greta Gerwig, who wrote and directed this. This is a semi autobiographical piece. She grew up in Sacramento, moved out to New York to go to college. So there's that kind of feeling of like, this is what I remember about this time, and this is what it feels like to have been growing up during this time. You talked a little bit about the dialogue, but I think the dialogue is actually really great in this, especially the scenes between her and her mother. Obviously, both fantastic actresses, Saoirse Ronan and the woman who plays her mother, which is Laurie Metcalf. Both of them masterful at what they do, and the way that they can go back and forth so quickly. Those scenes in particular almost feel like you're watching like a Sorkin movie or something, where it's this like fast dialogue that feels so natural and real, and like these characters are super connected to each other. Another thing that she does with the editing is that you're never there for the beginning of a scene or the beginning of the conversation. You just cut right into it, right to the good stuff, and you're just there, a part of it. So it makes it feel like you're there and you're remembering. Because when you think about like, oh, I remember that time we went to this place, it's not necessarily about, oh, we went here and here's everything that built up to it. It's that specific moment in time that happened where you're having that intense conversation. They do that really well with the editing, the editing style, whether it's through these match cuts or insert cuts. So often in movies, you'll see when you're moving to a new scene, they'll do an establishing shot, like, oh, here's a building, and then they go into the building. But instead, there's a lot of points in this movie where they use an insert shot as an establishing shot. So they'll jump in with this up close image, whether it's the communion wafers that they're eating or the microwave that they're watching, where that's the first shot in a new scene, and then it goes outward from there. So it goes small to big, and you kind of just jump right in, as opposed to like, let's build up to this new moment. Some other stuff, I think, like you said, the acting is really great. Lucas Hedges, Saoirse Ronan, all the supporting cast, Beanie Feldstein, the great, teenage, early 20 actors who we're going to be seeing. And you even talked about Booksmart a few weeks ago. We're going to continue to see these actors grow up and become like, the people in Hollywood who are really, popular. I think the subplots are really great. You talked about characters and how like each one has a little bit of their own story. You've got the subplot with, the depressed priest and her father dealing with money issues and his depression, and his brother her brother who had gone to college and gotten a math degree, but then is working at a grocery store. You have Lucas Hedges' character who is obviously dealing with his sexuality, going to a Catholic school, coming from a, devout Irish Catholic family, and trying to overcome, his feelings of shame about his own homosexuality. You've got her friend who's got her thing with the teacher that she's in love with, and she's this awkward kid who's got parent troubles at home and is going through all this stuff. So I think there's a lot of layers to it, and just each of these characters is, going through their own things.
Yeah, I agree. Every character is just like, on the surface, you're like, okay, this is like the stereotypical whatever. And then they just dig deeper into them. They just get so much more emotional depth as the movie goes on. I think that's brilliant because literally, I think every single one of those is just presented as the stereotypical whatever, the stereotypical,
like Timothy Chalamet's
nerdy
character is the douchey guy,
right?
But his dad has
nerdy,
cancer, and
the nerdy theater kid, the really smart girl who's in love with her teacher, like that sort of the super like just outgoing priest, like stuff like that, and then they just completely shatter that, and you actually see like who they are down deep. I think that's brilliant. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So yeah, just all in all, like I just really love this movie. I think there's a lot of great things about it. But that being said, we should move into our first category, Stupidest part.
You stupid.
Cody, what do you got? What's the stupidest part about this movie?
Yeah, I mean, there's not a ton of stuff to break down here, but I do have some little moments. I think the beginning scene is an interesting one. I feel like the car scene is what I'm talking about. I feel like that is like super praise scene. It's really not my favorite. Her jumping out of the car seems a little unnecessary to me. So that was my first gripe. What do you think about that?
I really love that scene. I think it's really well
I figured you would.
written, but I do agree her jumping out of the car is a little extreme, but I think it sets the tone for what's to go in the relationship.
True. It's a great opening, like shocker scene that just set like tone for the rest of the movie. But I'm not a big fan, as I think probably a lot of other people are. Also, a little one. West Coast people wishing they were East Coast people. I'm not sure if that's actually a thing. Maybe it was in the early 2000s, but I feel like everybody wants to go to like the West Coast. Maybe the people there sort of was like, oh, I want to get out of here, like pretty much everybody else is in the world. But yeah, I thought that was kind of dumb. And then the big one that I have is sort of just like the arguments with her mom. Sometimes they make sense, sometimes they don't really. One of the big blowouts was about how she needed to like fold her clothes so she didn't look like trash, because her peers were going to tell their parents that she looks like trash, and then because of that they wouldn't hire her dad. That to me seemed like a bit of a stretch. Obviously if you're going to school looking like complete trash, but I mean a couple wrinkles in your skirt or whatever isn't going to make or break your dad's job positioning. Yeah, sort of like you were saying, like their conversations, they sort of seem real at times, they sort of don't to me though. That was my biggest gripe with the movie. I do like the dialogue pretty much everywhere else other than the interaction between her and her mom. They are great actresses. I just don't know if the dialogue was on point to like believable. And yeah, just her mom's super passive aggressive. That doesn't that's not dumb. That's just I don't really like her mom as character. But yeah, what do you think about their arguments? I just thought they were dumb and not necessary a lot of times.
Well, you're talking about the scene where with her needing to fold her clothes, and you're 100% right. I think it's intentionally supposed to be ridiculous and absurd that like she would ever actually need to fold her clothes, because people will think she's trash if her clothes aren't folded. Obviously, that doesn't make a lot of sense. I think it's just trying to illustrate that her mom is a little bit is really hard on her, a little bit ridiculous. Obviously, I think the big theme is here, like parents not really always understanding their children, and it's sometimes really hard when you're generationally there's a gap there where it's like you're trying to connect with someone who is just so different from you. And obviously Lady Bird herself, Christine, is a very eccentric, eclectic person, and it is hard to relate to. So she struggles a lot with that throughout the movie. I think in terms of their actual dialogue back and forth, theirs isn't necessarily as natural or real. Like I don't think people will necessarily have conversations like that, but I think it's intentionally put that way. And I like the way the dialogue flows in those scenes.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. I do think they have great chemistry. It does seem like they are mother-daughter just arguing about nothing, which I do like. But yeah, just some trips in the dialogue for me. Tell me about your dumb parts.
Yeah, I got basically just two really small things that I'm going to gripe on just because.
Yeah, I feel like there's just nothing massive to come out with this movie with, which is tough because I feel like we're really good at this category too. But go ahead. Yeah,
2 weeks in a row, we've picked movies that we've had trouble picking apart. So I think the whole setup of her finding out that Danny's gay is kind of dumb. Just like the way she discovers it. She's like has to use the bathroom and she's like, let's just use the men's room, and she runs over there and he's making out with the dude in the stall, which it's like first of all, she goes to the men's room and then selects the exact stall that two people are in. I don't know how you don't realize that somebody's in it's very strange. So I think that just whole setup is obviously that there needed to be a way for her to discover that. I just think it probably could have been done better for her actually like making that discovery that he's gay.
Yeah, that's actually a really good one. She does just go in there And like there are other open stalls, like she walked by, I'm pretty sure. And she just smacks in the big one and says, anybody in here? And that's just the perfect timing where, they're making out. That's a good one. I'll give you props on that. I didn't think of that.
And then the other one, this isn't that bad, but it's right
Mhm.
after she breaks up with Kyle and she's in the car with her mom, and her mom's like, "You want to do our favorite Sunday activity?" Which I feel like is a weird thing to say. Like, why wouldn't you just be like, "Hey, you want to go look at houses?" Not just be like, "Do you want to do our favorite?" It's obviously trying to lead you into the next scene and not necessarily give away what they're about to do, but I think it's just a dumb piece of dialogue that she would say it like that necessarily.
That's nitpicking right there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I guess. I think that's a great setup. I was surprised that
It's
Rom
good for movie
was,
making, but probably poor for real
yeah.
life.
Probably. I'm not sure about that one, but yeah, interesting.
All right, why don't we move on to our favorite scene? I'll get us started since you already mentioned it. I think my favorite scene of the movie is just the opening. I think the way it develops the characters and shows you right off the bat kind of their relationship. It's very much it's a love-hate relationship. So they have, and it continues throughout the movie where they have these moments where they're fighting with each other or they have these disagreements, but then they can snap back and forth to where like, oh yeah, like they're family and they still love each other. Another great example of it is when they're in the Goodwill and they're looking, or the thrift store, whatever it may be, and they're looking for the dress for Thanksgiving, and they're arguing back and forth about why are you even going to somewhere else for Thanksgiving, and then she finds the dress and they're like, oh my gosh, this is the perfect dress, and then they're just snapping back into like being loving and a good family. I think the first scene does this really well. You have that moment where they're talking about like the grapes of wrath and just talking about wanting to experience something, and then they start arguing, and then she eventually jumps out of the car. I think it's just really great character development, and my favorite scene because it starts the movie out on such a good note. Like you watch and you're like, oh, I want to get to know what else is going to happen.
Yeah, I think that is like the marquee scene in the movie. I feel like after that, obviously the movie's super memorable, but I feel like there's not like a massively memorable scene. I just have lots of little moments that I liked. I'll random off a couple here. The JV football coach going through the play, talking about when they would come in and sing. I thought that was really funny. It was like, all right, everybody come in. And he goes, you come in hot. And they all fucking start like running. So I thought that was good. Also, the abortion scene where she gets picked out to talk, and then she ends it with, if your mom would have had that abortion, we wouldn't have nurse reps sit through this assembly.
And I love the way that
yeah,
scene's edited, because she says that and then you have like a J cut where the audio for the next scene starts and her mom's like suspended, and then like you hear that and she's still sitting, and then it cuts to the next scene, and I think it really flows really well.
Yeah, that was one of my favorites. Also, the last one I had was when they're at dinner after graduation, and Lucas head just comes up and is like, did you hear about the wait list? And her dad right away goes, oh fuck. I love that. I loved her dad in this movie as well. I didn't put him down for my best actor, but every scene he was in, I thought he was just really good. And I think his character is just so important to, Saoirse Ronan. That like every scene he was in was just a good scene. So yeah, not a ton of big moments for me. Just like the little stuff is what I really like in this movie. And yeah, you're seeing. I said it before. It's all right, But what do you think about those?
Those are all great scenes, and even expanding on like the little moments. I think a lot of the scenes that have Beanie Feldstein in them, where she's just like making a joke, are really great. Two of my favorites are when they're signing up for the play and she like puts her name in parentheses.
Which truly, yeah.
And so she's like, you don't need to do that. And she's like, wait, Julie is not my real name.
Yeah.
Like it's not the same. And then when they have their little argument and she's like, you didn't even come to play practice, and like you got assigned a role. And she's like, what role? The Tempest. She's like, there is no role. It's the titular role.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Beanie Feldstein is very funny. Good actors.
Yeah. So we can move on here now to actually one other thing I want to mention, and this probably could have gone in initial thoughts as well, but I think this movie has a really great soundtrack, and the way that it uses music throughout is really interesting. You obviously have the song Crash by Dave Matthews Band, kind of a cringy song looking back, but for the time it was pretty popular when it came out, and the way that it kind of plays throughout. So originally you see it when her and Beanie Feldstein's character are in the car, and they're just kind of being all sad because she had just broken up with Danny. They hear the song playing, they're like, we love it. And then it comes up again when she's leaving, or when she's with Kyle.
Prom, right?
Yeah, when she's with Kyle in the car, and he's like, I hate this song. And she's like, I love it. And then she ends up going and reconciling her relationship with Jules. And then it continues to play throughout prom. There's also the song called This Eve of Parting by John Hartford that plays in the beginning of the movie when her mother's driving around through Sacramento. And then it comes back again at the end of the movie when her mother is all sad and depressed and driving, after Lady Bird has moved off to college. So the motif of some of the music coming up throughout the movie, I really enjoy. And I think it really adds to a lot of the scenes that they're in. We can move on to who can act.
Wow.
You want to get us started, Kody?
Yeah, I will get started. I think we go probably throughout about half the cast list here. I'll just talk about my favorites though, pretty briefly. I think the best actor in this movie is the priest guy. His name's Stephen McKinley Henderson. I mean, this dude's got crazy chops. Just gives a super powerful performance. I think really stuck with me. The crying scene obviously is it's just tough to watch, man. That guy's really good in this movie. Obviously, I'm going to pick Beanie Feldstein. I think she's super underrated. One of my favorite, actresses just working today. Like you were saying before, I think basically everyone in this movie is just on the rise. I think these are going to be the superstars of the new age. Saoirse Ronan, she's only been in like 5 movies, and she's already big time actress.
I mean, yeah, she's in Little Women. She was in a Wes Anderson movie, The Grand Budapest Hotel. She's got a new movie coming out with Sam Rockwell and Adrian Brody as well. She's going to be in a lot of stuff.
She's so young.
Yeah,
she's
exactly.
so young too. It's ridiculous. Obviously, Timmy Chalamet is a big deal. Lucas Hedges is just an unbelievable actor. I could talk about this cast for a while. Yeah, Beanie Feldstein, I think just, she has got into that comedy role, which I think she's very good at. But I also think she's really good at the dramatic stuff in this movie as well. And also in Booksmart as well. She does that there. Yeah, I'm just a big fan. And I think those are by far the 2 performances that stuck out to me was Beanie and the priest guy. So yeah, those are my who can act. But I mean, you could literally pick anybody here, I think.
I think I mention this every time I talk about this movie just because I like it. But the priest, Stephen McKinley, is a Purdue graduate. He went to Purdue for his master's in fine arts. So I guess Purdue has some good acting chops in terms of people that go here. So shout out Purdue, go Boilers.
Yeah, I told me that before. I think you said that on the podcast before,
I think I said that like last week, to be honest.
Oh, did you? Oh, maybe actually, yeah.
Or actually, you know what? I mentioned it in the movie draft because I did draft this movie for I think directorial debut.
That is true. I forgot this was directorial debut as well. That is crazy.
Yes. So really great. Obviously you mentioned it at the top. We mentioned it a ton of times. Saoirse Ronan's a great actress, especially the accent work in this movie. She has an extremely thick English or Irish accent. And I didn't know she was Irish until later. Like you wouldn't even guess it just by watching this movie. Lucas Hedges, I would say in the next 5 years, that guy's gonna have an Oscar, like no doubt. It's just bound to happen. This Manchester by the Sea, like the dude has insane chops, and I think he's just continue to be in things. Beanie Feldstein, I think will be interesting to see where she goes. Like you said, she's done a lot of comedy stuff. I think being able to move more into the drama category is going to really depend, make the difference of how popular she can become. But I'm definitely excited to see those 3 and Timothée Chalamet and everything they do. Really excited for Dune coming out here in a few months, and he's the main guy in that. So we'll see what happens.
I'm very excited for Dune. Yeah, I mean, Denis Villeneuve, come on, dude, taking on Dune. That's gonna be crazy. I'm very excited for that movie. Yeah. Let's hear your worst performance, though. I want to see you pick somebody out of the line here.
It was definitely tough to choose someone, and I chose the character Jenna Walton. She's the rich girl. She's played by Odeya Rush. I don't really know if she's in anything else. I just think when you're up against the rest, I guess she's in The Giver and Goosebumps, so shout out to her. But when you're put up,
Sure.
when you're put up against those other four actors, you're just bound to not be as impressive. I don't think what she does in this movie is inherently bad. I just think it's pretty one-dimensional in the character that she plays. Some of that's probably in the writing, but it's just there's just not a lot of depth to the performance to me.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I'm on pretty much the exact same page as you. I did have her down for one of them. I basically just looked at a bunch of side characters who, didn't have a lot to do and went after them. So yeah, I said her, the weird teacher guy that Beanie Feldstein's into. Just kind of nothing special. Just kind of weirdo. The guy who was interviewing her dad for the interview. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes,
that guy's in like insurance commercials and he pisses me off. So I saw him, I wasn't happy. But yeah, I am actually going to throw out one of the main cast here.
Okay.
Gonna be bold and say that Timothée Chalamet is not great in this movie.
Okay.
I don't know if it's necessarily he's bad in this movie. I just don't think this is a good role for him. He's kind of just there. I feel like he's forgettable, even though he says the dumbest shit. Which I mean, I probably, if I was a fucking cool kid who smoked cigs in high school, I'd probably be talking about this as well. Obviously, he's going through stuff. His dad's got like cancer, so I'm not coming at him. But yeah, I just don't think this is great writing for Timothée Chalamet. I don't think he's the hard ass. I think he's more of the relatable character. I think he's better at that. But yeah, this is a different type of role for him, and I think he's like a heartthrob over it. So because he said like good girl once or something. But yeah, Timothée Chalamet, I'm coming at you, bro. You're not that good.
Timothée Chalamet is an interesting guy. I think in real life he is kind of a douchebag though. So
probably.
I think I've heard some story, like rumor, that he gave like the NYU graduating class like all chlamydia, and it was quite the player. Look it up, bro. Hey,
I'm not looking that up, you weirdo.
So I think he kind of is that like douchey dude that just kind of a little bit of a womanizer, but it seems that the roles he plays this is against type for the roles he usually plays, but maybe more true to who he is as a person. I think which is an interesting thing to say. Other than that, I agree with you. This movie's really well acted, so it's kind of hard.
I mean, yeah. He's not bad by any means, but I just wanted to throw that out there just to mix it up a little bit.
I like it.
I didn't know you were going to come at me with chlamydia facts, but yes, I learned something every day.
I really do like him as an actor though. Like most of the movies I've seen him in, I've really enjoyed. He's in a movie called Hot Summer Nights, which is pretty decent, and he's in a movie called The King with Robert Pattinson, which is like
it's a Netflix movie.
Netflix period piece. I think he's just really good in pretty much everything he's in. So
yeah, I mean, I'm psyched for Dune. So he's definitely a good actor.
It's gonna be good. Him and Zendaya. But yes,
Zendaya fan.
He does say some weird stuff in this, including "good girl," which I've seen people swoon over quite a bit.
I was just gonna say swoon over it too. Big swooning over that line.
You don't have a cell phone. Nobody wants cell phones anymore after Timothée Chalamet said that.
Good girl, yeah. It's a tracking device.
Let's take a quick commercial break and then we'll be right back. And we're back. All right, now we're going to move on to the recast.
You're fired. You're fired. You're fired. You're fired.
I'm sure I had some trouble with this one, so
Cody, this was tough. Yeah.
Cody, why don't you get it started?
Yeah, I didn't go after any of the main guys here. I went after a couple side characters. I do have two. I'll go through my first one here. I talked about the guy in the commercials who pissed me off, who's interviewing her dad for the job. So, let's just get him out of there because, he just pisses me off. There's really no other reason. So, you know what? I'm going to throw in Ryan Reynolds as the guy interviewing him.
Oh, that's good. I like that.
Thank you. Yeah, just, a little bit more comedy in there. It is a bigger name, so it'll take you out of the movie a little bit, but he only has like 2 lines, and they're both jokey lines anyways. And I think he delivered it pretty well. So, yeah, give me Ryan Reynolds as the interviewer.
Hey, I'm all I think this movie needs a cameo like that. I think it'd be a lot more
exactly.
Fun. My person, I'm going to replace the character of Jenna. She's played by Odeya Rush, like I mentioned before. And the person I'm going to replace her with is Alexa Dimmy. You probably don't know who that is, but she's one of the characters in Euphoria. She's also in Mid 90s and Waves, which are two other A24 movies. I think that's something that you'll see a lot with A24 movies. When someone acts in one, they at least are in another one or two. There's a lot of the same characters that move across. Timothy Chalamet's been in a couple. Lucas Hedges been in a couple A24 movies. Lucas Hedges was also in Mid 90s. So I'm picking Alexa Dimmy. In Euphoria, she plays this like kind of rich hot girl. She plays a pretty similar character. But I think she's just a better actress, and she has that ability to bring a little bit more depth and, something interesting to the character. So that's my pick.
Cool. Yeah, I don't know who that is, but I'll take your word for it. Good casting, my dude. Yeah, my other pick.
Also, okay, go ahead. What's your? No, I want to hear what your pick is, because I feel like the joke I'm about to make might. Go ahead.
I doubt it. My pick is another just shot in the dark here. I went after the weird teacher that Beanie Feinstein is flirting with. I said, take him out. He's too classically, just like a good looking teacher. I think let's throw in somebody, it's gonna shake it up a little bit. So yeah, I threw in Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I'm not sure about this one, obviously. I just see, that dude can come off as a smart guy sometimes. Put the glasses on him, and I think it'd just be a different take on like, oh, the student's in love with the teacher. Sort of like, oh, he's just, he's not necessarily the best looking guy. Well, I don't know, maybe he is. But yeah, he's just, a different sort of teacher to throw in there. And yeah, I think he'd add a little bit more depth, a little bit more, acting to that character, which I think what was really lacking there was the acting. And yeah, throw JGL in, why not?
Sure, why not? And then obviously we can just put Dave Bautista as the jock teacher or the jock priest that yells at the students. So
the football coach, the JV football coach. Yep,
exactly.
That's the perfect spot for him. I'll give you that.
All right, now we're gonna move on to Welcome to the Academy.
There's a mistake. Moonlight, you guys won Best Picture.
I'll get it started with my first award. I'm gonna give this movie the best bad hair dye job. Because her hair, I like the look. I'm a fan of it. I think the red hair looks good. It suits her well, but it's not the best dye job ever. So
well, you just called it the worst, right?
Well, exactly. So it's the best bad hair dye job.
Coming after her hair, dude, that stuff. I don't think it's that bad. It's like the dirty red hair or whatever. It's not dirty blonde. It's the other way around, where it's blonde and then it's red hair. I don't know hair much, but I think it's a good look. I back it. So kind of tough.
I think the look for the characters, they did a really good job of creating Saoirse Ronan's look, because obviously Saoirse Ronan's a very attractive person, but they didn't have her wear a lot of makeup. They didn't cover up any acne or anything like that, and they did a good job of making her look just like a high school student.
Yeah, it's true. Good award. My first one was the movie with the most spiteful and petty mother of all time. I mean, dude, you're not even gonna hug her when she's going to college. You're not gonna see her for like 6 months, dude. She's going across the country, and you're not gonna get out of the hug to hug her just because she didn't even lie. She just didn't tell you.
Parking's too expensive.
Be an asshole about it. Yeah, that pissed me off. I mean, that is, I feel like, just petty. That's just straight up pettiness, just because she left you in the dark a little bit or whatever. Yeah, I mean, out of mothers and coming of age movies, I think that's about as petty as it gets. So yeah, congrats to Sheldon's mom from The Big Bang Theory. You finally got an award.
She was nominated for Best Supporting Actress for that award.
She deserved that. She was actually pretty good in this movie.
I'm gonna give Best Sacramento movie. Honestly, don't know any other movies set in Sacramento, but
did you look up any other ones or no?
No, I don't really.
You just
care.
Get a free ballot. Yeah, it's just the best one.
Well, there's something that the character, I believe the nun says to Saoirse Ronan character in the movie about how like you write about Sacramento with this love for Sacramento. And she talks about, I just pay attention to it. I don't necessarily love it, but I think this is almost a love letter to Sacramento. Obviously, I think Greta Gerwig growing up had a lot of the same feelings that Lady Bird has towards the city and wanting to escape. But then now looking back as she's older, she's, experienced New York and LA and there's kind of this affection for the place that you grew up in. And I think it presents Sacramento in a really interesting way where it is again a love-hate relationship with the city. So shout out Sacramento movies. I'll look up some while you give the next award.
I doubt there's any. Yeah, but shout out to Sacramento. I agree. If anybody's listening from Sacramento, let us know. And if you're not, just go to Sacramento and check it out. It's a great place. Never been. But yeah, my second Oscar that I'm giving this movie is the award for the best nickname that's never explained. So obviously, the title and titular role is Lady Bird. And, we get some insight on where that came from, but, none really at all. So yeah, I actually really think it's a great name for the movie. And I really do like the idea of, the coming of age being like, why do we have to, go by the names our parents gave us? That is pretty dumb when you think about it. Why can't I just choose what I want to be called? So yeah, I think that's it's an interesting name to pick, Lady Bird. I don't really know what it means, but I think it's a great nickname, and it doesn't need to be explained, and it shouldn't be explained. So yeah, I'm giving the Oscar for that.
Great campaign posters for it as well. So
oh yeah, her half bird, half bird face, whatever. That's great.
Or vice versa, as she says. Here's some movies set in Sacramento, and we honest haven't seen any of them. Pink Cadillac, Frankie and Johnny, Life, Phenomenon, Almost Famous. That's a pretty
almost famous.
Famous. Breakdown, Misery, and Smoking Aces. So yeah, I'm gonna give it
Misery.
Best Sacramento movie.
You say Misery? That's
Yes.
one with Kathy Bates. Oh yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
Can't believe that's in Sacramento.
Yeah, Stephen King things are usually set in Massachusetts, but I guess that one was not. My last thing I just want to talk about is this movie was nominated for a lot of Academy Awards, but to be honest,
yeah.
So I love this movie, but I actually don't know if it really should have won anything. It didn't. I don't think it did end up winning anything, but the things that it was up against, I can understand it not winning. So it didn't win Best Picture. Shape of Water won Best Picture. That's whatever. But Get Out was also nominated in this year. I'd probably take that as a Best Picture winner that year. Best Director, probably I would take Jordan Peele again.
It's a tough one for directorial debut as well.
Yeah, Get Out won Best Original Screenplay, which this was nominated for. Frances McDormand won Best Actress over Saoirse Ronan, which people she's really great actress. Best Supporting Actress went to Allison Janney for I, Tonya. Maybe I'd take Laurie Metcalf in this movie over that performance. But
both sitcom actresses. That's actually interesting for Best Supporting Actress. Interesting, yeah. I probably would have taken Saoirse Ronan over Frances McDormand. I didn't see three billboards, so I can't really take that. But I think Saoirse is pretty undeniably great in this movie. One of the best I've seen for a while.
Yeah. That category is pretty stacked. She was also going up against Meryl Streep and Margot Robbie in some pretty great performances. So
that category is always stacked.
Yeah. But Frances McDormand, she's now won three Best Actress awards at the Oscars. So
that is pretty impressive.
Saoirse will get hers. She's been nominated twice now. I think she'll get it. Maybe.
Oh yeah, for how young as she is. Yeah, that's impressive. She's already been nominated twice.
Yeah. Do you have any other awards you want to give this movie?
No, those are my only two.
Now we're gonna move on to weird movie details trivia.
Naked grandma. Naked, huh?
Kody, you want to ask the first question?
I will. Yeah, I have two questions. I think one of them's probably pretty easy. One's not that hard either, so I think you might do well this week. But yeah, my first one is not even really directly related to this movie. But how many movies have Saoirse Ronan and Timothy Chalamet been in together? And you don't get multiple choice because this is easy.
I feel like
so they are in this one together. Spoiler alert. So that's one. I'll give you one.
Yeah, I know. Obviously, this and Little Women are the two main ones. I feel like there's another one though. I think they've been in three. I'm trying to think. Okay, Saoirse Ronan. For some reason, I feel like they have been in another movie together. But because I can't think of what it is, and I feel like I would know off the top of what else has she been in? Or was there? I'm gonna say two. I'm gonna say two movies together.
No, it's three. Well, actually, it's sort of both because I don't know if this movie has come out yet.
Well, they're no.
The French Dispatch.
They're
is,
in the
the
French
third movie.
Dispatch. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's 3, right? That movie's come out.
It
right?
has not come out. It comes
Oh,
out
well,
in
there
October.
you go. Well, I guess you're right then. They've only been in 2, so you get that one right. But they are going to be in 3. I just think that's really interesting how they're in so many movies together already. And yeah, it's got a trailer, so I figured it came out. But right when you said that, I was like, oh, maybe it actually hasn't come out. So I looked it up, and yeah, it hasn't come out. So you're probably right on both accounts there. So yeah, tough question, I guess. Harder than it seems.
She's in the Grand Budapest. So the French Dispatch is a movie by Wes Anderson. She's in the Grand Budapest Hotel, but Timothée Chalamet is not. So released movies, yes, too. French Dispatch is a movie that I don't know how I feel if I'm excited for it or not, but it's one of the ones that's releasing in October. So it's got a pretty stacked cast, I will say that.
Yeah, Bill Murray, Tilda Swinton, I think too.
Yeah. So should be interesting. So I'm gonna say that I got that right. So screw you.
Yeah, I'll give it to you. There wasn't really a correct answer. Yeah.
My first question will also not have multiple choice.
Okay.
Jen is talking about the first time she has sex in class, and she says she received a phone call on her phone that she only had for emergencies.
Yeah.
Jules asks her, "What was the emergency? What was the emergency?"
Oh man, somebody died. Oh shit. I'm thinking like great aunt or grandma. It was a woman, I believe.
What is the final answer?
I don't know why I'm thinking great aunt. I feel like that's wrong, but I really want to say that. I feel like grandma is the obvious choice, but I don't think that's right either. What's another option other than those two?
Cousin.
It's not her cousin. It's some old lady. I'm gonna go great aunt. I don't know why.
The answer is great aunt. So good job.
Let's go! Wow, I pulled that one out of my ass, dude. That's pretty great for me. I'm not gonna lie. It's a good question. Good question.
Thank you.
I got another question that is also a good question. Yeah, there's also no multiple choice to this one. So maybe a little bit tougher. Yeah, how many piercings do Miguel and Shelly have on their face combined? And this is sort of just freeballing it. It's hard to see sometimes in the movie, but I'm fairly certain this is the correct answer. So I could be wrong. Don't kill me if I'm wrong, but I'm 90% sure this is right.
Do earrings count?
No. On their face.
I know they both have like lip/eyebrow stuff. She probably has a nose. I don't think he has a nose piercing, but I could be wrong. So
okay.
I'm gonna say combined. So it's like, okay, if they have a ring and there's 2 rings, is like each ring a piercing?
Yeah, if they got 2 rings on their lip, that's 2 piercings, right?
I'm gonna say 7.
7. No, I believe the correct answer is 6. I think they have 3 each. Lip, eyebrow, and then they both have a thing through their nose, like the bowl piercing or whatever.
Septum,
yeah. So I believe the correct answer is 6. Don't come after me if I'm wrong, but you were close. I don't know where you pulled 7 out. It seemed like you were between like 4 and 5. Yeah, they just went straight to 7, which I do like. That's a ballsy strategy, but I do believe that's incorrect.
I felt like they had like 2 in their lip or something, and I don't know.
No,
he's got one here.
Mm-hmm.
And on the chin. That's interesting.
I think they have 3 each, right? That's what I saw.
Yeah, it looks like he's got a chin, lip, and nose, and she probably has.
She's got one on her eyebrow.
Yeah, eyebrow. Okay.
Yeah,
6. Okay.
Yeah. Was a question.
Wasn't too far off.
You.
Only one off. Sorry, I didn't memorize their faces. My question is going to be an elimination question. So I don't remember what the theme of prom ends up being, but at one point in the movie, the nun is talking about, here are your options for prom themes. And she provides 3 options. I'm going to give you 5. You have to tell me which 2 does she not say as options. Okay.
Yeah, this is gonna be easy. I already know what their theme was. Go for it.
Okay. So the options are
Hmm.
cities of the world,
Yep.
decades, movies,
I don't know.
casino night,
No.
eternal flame.
Eternal Flame was the theme. Uh, okay. Say the middle three again. Movies. What was the other ones?
Movies, decades, casino night, eternal flame.
Decades. It's not Casino Night. Decades or movies. Ooh, that's actually tough. Decades. That kind of doesn't make sense. I think movies was one of them. So I'm going to eliminate decades and Casino Night.
You are correct.
Let's go. Let's go. Yeah,
So
that was an easy one, dude. Come on.
Yeah,
Not even challenging.
fair enough. Sorry. 2 for 2 today. Really proud of you.
Thank you. I know your movie better than you do, evidently.
Apparently. All right. Now we're going to
That's
move
funny.
on to our pitch. I'll get us started here first.
Go for it.
So I think this was a tough one. I didn't really have a great pitch for this, but my idea would basically just be if we took, obviously this movie set 2002, 2003. So let's make a present day set version with, Lady Bird grown up. Now she has her own kid, maybe, or maybe not. Maybe she's still, I guess she'd be like 30, 38 now. So probably maybe has children, or maybe she's living a single life as a, just a lady chilling in New York or wherever it may be. But I just want to see what Lady Bird's up to now. I guess she'd probably be going by Christine, but just seeing how she's dealing with life as a middle-aged adult would be my only pitch for a movie.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's the best pitch and probably the obvious one. I was, really just racking my brain trying to think of something to spin off or some otherwise. And I came up with a pretty terrible idea. So I'm going to share it. So yeah, direct sequel is probably the best. My rule for direct sequels for this category is somebody has to die. So yeah, I want to bring everybody back, but I think I also want it to be set like, let's say junior year of college. So not too far into the future like yours. Yeah, bring back the entire cast except for Timmy, because I mean his character just doesn't really fit. And yeah, the person who's going to die, I think it's her dad. I think that's not an easy choice because he's a lovable character, but it probably makes sense for the story. But yeah, I think Lady Bird's just gonna, probably, go a little crazy, lose her mind a little bit. And, given that her name is Lady Bird, I think we have a horror movie like, like Tusk or The Fly, where she slowly transitions into half human.
Tusk is also an A24 movie. So there you go.
Well, there you go. It fits beautifully. Yeah, we're keeping it in the A24 family here. And yeah, I just want to see Saoirse Ronan just go crazy and, find the scientist who helps her, become half bird, half lady, and really fits her name. And then, yeah, the climax of the film would be her now transformed into Lady Bird showing up to her dad's funeral. And, everybody just like, what the hell's going on? So yeah, I would never watch that in a million years, but I think that's that's about the best pitch I can come up with.
Yeah, I think that's very interesting and terrifying, and it would probably be very scary. So I guess that's good. The other thing would just be seeing a continuation of the character of Danny, and just maybe seeing how he's dealing with going off to college, dealing with the sexuality, the familiar pressures, maybe more of just not necessarily a direct sequel, but a spinoff just with his character as the main character and how he has to deal with his own issues, or even this story told from his point of view and then expanding upon it would be something interesting.
Yeah, it's actually pretty good. That is a good idea for a spinoff, sort of another coming of age story, but a different kind in the sexuality. Yeah, I like that. Give me more Lucas Hedges. I'm not going to complain.
Oh, absolutely. He's a god. Now we'll move on to our rating of this movie.
You're going to look at me and you're going to tell me that I'm wrong? Am I wrong? It's my favorite.
I expect mine to be much higher than yours. So what do you got? Out of 69, what do you rate this movie, Kody?
Out of 69, I do enjoy this movie a lot. But yeah, I don't think I hold it up to the echelon that you do. So I'm hovering on 58, 59. I think I'm going to give it a 59. Probably deserves a little bit higher, but yeah, I'm going to go 59. Let's hear yours.
I'm gonna give this movie a 66 out of 69.
Whoa! Is that your highest score ever?
Oh yeah, this is my highest score.
Oh my god!
Definitely my favorite movie that we've watched so far, up to this point. It's one higher than Moonlight. Obviously, Moonlight, groundbreaking film, great for a lot of reasons. But just to me, I think this story connects with me a little bit more on a personal level. And I just enjoy it. I think it's one that I would rewatch more often. And I think that's rewatchability is important to me. So I'm gonna give it a 66. So
big score going out there. I did not expect that.
Yeah,
Mr. Low rating went all out for this. I love that.
Oh yeah, full of surprises.
Good to see, man.
All right, and then to end things off, Kody, have you watched anything recently? Anything you want to recommend? Maybe another Saoirse Ronan movie, or
Beanie Fine. So.
Book Smart again.
Yeah, Book Smart again. I'd recommend that. Definitely check it out. Oh yeah, Little Women, good movie. I like that. I haven't seen anything else of Saoirse Ronan, but I definitely check that out. Emma Watson, always good as well. But yeah, my two big recommendations this week I have are actually really good ones, I think. Funny enough, I have not watched Breaking Bad. And actually I'd watched the first season and then stopped and then watched it again and then stopped. And I was like, why don't I watch this? So everybody said it's really good. So yeah, I blazed through season 2 the last couple of days. Very good. Big fan, honestly. Jesse and his heroin addict girlfriend. R.I.P. to her.
Yeah, that's a tough scene.
That is a tough scene. Season 2's got a lot of tough scenes. And the finale is great as well, where finally, what's her face finds out everything that he's been lying and stuff. So season 3 should be even better. You got Saul Goodman in the mix as well. Good guy. But yeah, I'm checking that out. Also, my second recommendation is Jeopardy. This guy in Jeopardy is on a 2-week of a bender of a run right now. He's absolutely dominating. He might be on the show for a very long time. So yeah, if you just if you're free during 7:30 during the weekday for one time, I just check him out. He's just fun to watch. Super nerdy guy. He's like a PhD doctor or some crap. I don't know. Those are the people who win Jeopardy. But yeah, he's just out here rolling over folks, and I enjoy watching Jeopardy when one person is a lot better than the rest. So yeah, I'd check those out. Yeah, what's your recommendations?
Well, hopefully it's still going at the time of release, but Jeopardy's always
that's
great.
True. Yeah, that's true. We're recording this on what's the day? Wednesday,
the 4th,
and we're gonna release this Tuesday. So he
10th.
might be done by then. He's got to win basically a whole nother week, which is tough. But I'm gonna make a bold prediction and say he's still playing. So yeah,
I like it. Jeopardy's great. My recommendation, first of all, I went and saw Stillwater in theaters, which is the new Matt Damon movie. Kody said it looks terrible from the trailers, and
looks so bad.
I was not coming in with very high expectations. I was coming with just like, yeah, Matt Damon's a good actor, but I don't really know anything about this movie. Hadn't even watched a trailer, but I was pretty blown away. In terms of like direction and editing and cinematography, like it's not that impressive. It's not the best made movie of all time. I think, especially even this year, like I think movies like Judas and the Black Messiah or oh gosh, what else? Like even A Quiet Place Part 2, which are my other two favorite movies from this year. I think those are better directed movies and better shot movies. But I think just the character depth and the acting in this movie is absolutely astounding. And the story itself is really engaging. And I was on the edge of my seat for a lot of it. And it's getting mixed reviews from a lot of different people. Some people don't think it's that impressive, but me personally, I would highly recommend go check it out. It's really great. There's a little kid actor in this that's really awesome. The younger girl from Zombie Land is in it. So just great acting all around. Yeah,
she's a really good actress. I can't remember her name. Yeah, she's great. Yeah, that movie I saw when I went and saw Black Widow. They showed the trailer before it, and I was just like, Matt Damon looks like an idiot. He's got a terrible accent. But yeah, I think it's got a good cast. I might check it out. I might just wait till it comes out on like Netflix or something. It probably won't be long because, I mean, I doubt it's going to make big money, but I I doubt it would be in theaters for that long either. But yeah, high recommendation from you means I probably got to check it out eventually.
Yeah, and then this Friday I'm gonna go see Suicide Squad. So I'm
definitely
very
seeing that
excited
this
for
weekend.
that.
I'm so excited.
Going to see that in IMAX on Friday, and I think it's like probably the perfect movie to see. Because we had Black Widow, but if we're being honest, that wasn't a very impressive movie at the end of the day. So I think this is like the first great superhero movie of the year, and it's getting insanely high good reviews. I think it's got like a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes. So I'm very excited for it.
I'm jacked for that movie. Love James Gunn, obviously. If you've heard me talk about Guardians of the Galaxy before, one of my favorite directors just to watch what he does, because he does just crazy bonkers stuff, just pushing the boundaries of anything that he puts his hands on. So yeah, I'm jacked for that. I'm definitely going to see that in theaters this weekend as well.
Yeah, and I did see today that he is not going to be done working with DC. Obviously, he helped produce or wrote on the Peacemaker John Cena like series that's going to be coming out in January, but I think he's also going to be making some further projects with them in the future. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I'm sure if he makes big bucks on this money, which it's looking like he might, they're going to want to keep him up for a long time.
Yeah. And some other movies. I've been watching a ton of A24 movies in preparation for this other podcast I'm going to be on. Go check that out. It's out now. But Eighth Grade, Bo Burnham directorial debut. It was a really good movie. I think it does a really great job of capturing, like, it's really hard to make a movie about young people because of how fast things change with young people, and oftentimes you've got older people making movies about young people, and Bo Burnham does a really great job of being able to capture and represent like what modern youth is, and within some cinema history that isn't usually grasped in a full way, especially in the digital age. So I would say it's a really great movie to check out if you've never seen it. So Eighth Grade is my other recommendation.
Definitely. I'd also recommend going and checking out Jackson's podcast that you're on, right? That's going to be a good episode.
Yeah. So we'll be back at you next week. I think we've got something a little bit different in store. Well, I guess not too different from stuff we've done in the past, but not our typical one movie podcast. So check that out next week.
Gonna be an interesting one. Better find you guys here. Yeah.
Yep. Stay capping.
Stay capping. Peace.